Hello, welcome to episode 19 of Chin Music with Mitch and Tony. We're your hosts, Mitch Bone and Tony Legaly.
Yo, Mitchell, what's going on, baby?
Not a whole lot, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just trying to get this microphone here on my end dialed in and just sound muffled on my end. So it's all good. I think I just fixed it. So I just fixed the gain.
I think you just fixed it too. Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
I think we're good. If not, sorry, guys, technical difficulties, and we're not the biggest tech guys in the world.
Mitchell, what's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot, man. Just the grind of school. And I went on to the radio a couple times this week with Leah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, co-hosted with her a day. Well, actually, only once. I only co-hosted one day with her this week, but it was with one of our sponsors, actually, Neil Byer.
Neil Byer. Hi, Neil Byer.
Yeah, so he was there, or he was her official co-host for the week, and I just crashed the party.
Cool. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah, I want to meet that guy.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's great. I've known Neil for years. So
does he ever say anything about his Neil Byer stuff?
Oh yeah, no, his whole thing is hire buyer.
Yeah, but does he ever say anything like? Because I do that.
No, he hasn't to me.
Man, that Tony guy, I just want to pay him $1,000 a month to just be my endorsement voice.
I haven't heard him say that. No.
Huh. Well, still hire me. Oh, bye.
He should though. If he has any need, he should definitely hire you.
Anything about investments? He'd invest in yours truly. It's fine though. It's kind of the only product I got. So.
Other than that, man, I haven't really been doing much. The reason why we didn't have a show last week is, well, really two reasons. We weren't going to have a show because we were going to have a meet and greet, but then I ended up in the hospital, so
Mitchell,
we couldn't do any of it.
Yeah. You were hospitalized, but I had by far the worst congestion I think I've ever had. I know people say that when they get sick and it's the worst I've ever had, but I'm really truthfully recollecting on all the times I was congested, and I would say that by far that was the toughest one. So we were both real sick, but yeah, yours far more significant. But you're healthy now, right, Mitchell?
Totally healthy. They put me on the good antibiotics, and I'm good to go.
Good.
Yep. So speaking of our meet and greet, it is postponed to the end of this month, the 23rd.
23rd.
But we have two new giveaways that I would like to announce the businesses of. I don't know what they're giving away, but we have two new businesses supporting us.
Beautiful.
So we have On the Rocks, which is a new bar out in Huntley.
On the Rocks.
Yes. Bar, restaurant. You know how those small town places are. They're kind of the catch-all for everything because they're one of 2 or 3 restaurants in the town.
Yeah. I mean, most of the places that I eat, they're small town. The food's just kind of on the rocks.
No, but this guy, their general manager was one of the chefs at, I think it was the Rex or something, or one of our downtown restaurants here in Billings. And he just lives out in Huntley and wanted to.
That's probably the Goggins restaurant. Is that that's what that is? Okay, so Reed Pyburn from the High Horse and the Squire is him and his wife, I believe, Sean. That's awesome. Well, good to know. Well, that's great. Yeah, shoot, I love Reed, and actually, the Goggins family is a big part of the company that I contract for. It's that life.
Oh, okay. So, awesome.
Yeah.
So it makes even more sense.
Big Sky Blonde.
And then the second one that I've kind of secured, at least talked to him about, was something from Debat.
Debat.
Yep, here in Billings. So
It's not happening.
Brandon is an awesome guy
Step
and a
right
big
up,
supporter of us.
one-on-one instruction with yours truly, Brandon Wood. Brandon's a great guy. He likes to take walks in the park and fish.
Yes.
He is a really great guy.
You know what's so awesome about him that I don't know if a lot of people know because he's super quiet.
Yeah.
He actually played in the MLB.
Oh yeah, yeah. Brandon Wood's a stud. Yeah, he's
Like
a.
he's legit, and he's here in
Oh
Billings,
yeah.
Montana.
Yeah, real humble guy about his accomplishments, as that's a major one. But yeah, actually, every time I've ever got an opportunity to speak to Brandon, he's always pretty fun to chat with. So
Oh
happy
yeah,
for him
and
and
you're
happy that he's a
exactly
part of
right.
this.
He is one of the most humble guys I think I've ever met. You wouldn't
Yeah,
know that he had the success he had.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So thank you, Brandon.
Yes, so to have him in Billings is an absolute one of the best things ever, I think, for our town.
It's great for baseball, great for the
Yep,
game, great for the growth here. It's all good.
for sure, for sure. So let's dive into. I don't want to talk about the Super Bowl quite yet because we'll talk about that next week. I think
Yeah, we're
leading
gonna
up.
have a full recap of predictions, prop bets, spreads, all the things, anything and everything we can get you ready for game day.
Yeah, we'll do that next week since we're like a week and a half out right now.
Yeah, love it.
But let's talk about there's all the head coaching openings have now been filled.
Yeah, absolutely. Some interesting ones, but yeah, let's talk about that, Mitchell.
Yeah, so both of our teams actually hired new coaches.
Mhm.
So I want to get your take on Gerard Mayo
Mhm.
taking over for Bill Belichick.
Yeah, it's pretty out of the blue. I don't know. I mean, I'm not opposed to change ever, so I can't knock it, and I think I'm just glad he's a little bit younger guy.
Yeah,
I think that's where the coach is going. And I also had a thought yesterday about coaching in general. Like, I think it's just so hard because these guys are so talented to see the impact. For me, at least, I'm not saying I'm not going to get into a deal where I trap myself in a corner saying that coaches are irrelevant, but I'm not going to say that. But in this, youth coaches, they're, college coaches, like their job is to develop and grow. And I would assume the pros are somewhat about that as well. Obviously, they want to invest in a guy and hope he progresses and give him all the tools to. So that's good. That's more on the organization's shoulders than anything. But these guys are the athletes that they get to coach or whatever. I just can't imagine ever being inside the huddle or like, I always think about the locker room speeches or whatever, like how much of an impact do these guys really make the
yeah,
outcome of the game? I don't know. It's all about execution and players are the ones responsible for executing. And I just feel like that's a universal enough message to maybe it's not. I don't know. I would assume so, but I would
yeah,
assume that would be the only purpose for the temperament and the coach in the locker room. I don't know. I was just thinking about we had talked about yesterday about maybe talking about this on the show, and I was just like, God, how much like I actually could care less about coaches, right? Like, and that's just like because I just don't think that way.
yeah.
But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, as far as benefits, obviously to the players, and how much of an impact is it really taken on these performers?
Um, well, as probably all of our fans know by this point, I'm a massive Raiders fan. I bring
Right.
them up damn near every week because I just love them. And I think for the most part, the head coach's job is bringing in the culture. That winning culture like Bill Belichick had for 50,000 years with the Patriots. The winning attitude that, Andy Reid has with the Chiefs.
So culture and morale.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
we're gonna rip your throat out attitude in Detroit with Dan Campbell.
So yeah, and it's so you're saying that with enough hurrah and vision, that's why they get chosen to replace coaches and things of that. My point is like, as far as it's really hard to be analytical on the coaching aspect of things because the performance, even the wins and the losses, right? Like that
Yeah,
ultimately falls, like just on the execution of the players. Right? Like, and like, I mean,
right.
at that level, like I think about hockey, I think about baseball. Like at that level, what are you really honestly going to tell a major league player in any sport? Like
You're
like
not gonna tell them much.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I just like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It just seems like, especially hockey, coaches are getting boned here every time. And I'm just like, God, what is like, why, is it just the message still being delivered in the locker room? Is that what separates all of this, right? And if the message is grown dry, is that why
Yeah.
they bring in like new coaches, right? Because these coaches are obviously performing and excelling and wooing us as
Hmm.
fans, right? So
Right.
just,
Now, I do think the head coach's role is like, so say you want to run a 4-3 defense for just randomness. I
yeah,
think it's the coach's job to say, okay, Jadavion Clowney is a great 4-3 D end. Let's bring him in.
okay,
You know what I mean? I think and he's a great morale guy. Again, I don't know if Jadavion Clowney is a great morale guy. I just am using his name as an example. Um, or like we want to run a West Coast offense. So let's
mhm,
bring in a guy that knows the West Coast type of offense. I think that could be where, you know, the head coach comes in, but actually like executing the plan, I think it's all in the coordinators, and you need good
okay,
coordinators.
yeah, and obviously the players. And
Yeah,
yeah, and like I said, I'm not knocking coaches whatsoever. Like I think youth coaches, college coaches, I think they're absolutely pivotal
yeah.
in every kid's life. So,
I think
um,
the higher up you go, I think youth coach as the head coach is essential.
mhm,
I think they do just about everything as a head coach in youth sports. But I think once you get into like, I'm going to say college, because even high school, I think the head coach is still pretty pivotal. Um, Once you get into college and the pros, I think it kind of transitions either to your position coach, your assistant coaches, or even yourself.
well, I can't imagine where you stand on the Raiders in Ohio.
We'll get into that. So I absolutely love it. Antonio Pierce is the best guy for the job. He exudes Raider. Um, he drives like a 65 Camaro or something like that, and it's ruby red, and
Yeah,
it's a low rider,
you love
and it
them.
just screams, I'm the Raiders coach. Like, it's beautiful. He wears like a bomber jacket, and he wears a sweatshirt to work every day, and he's just that player coach that's just easygoing, but we'll get on you if you need it. I mean, he's an ex-player,
Hmm.
you know, so he'll get on you. But what I love about what the Raiders are doing, and I hope more teams do with inexperienced head coaches, is they brought in guys like Marvin Lewis, who coached the Bengals when they were really good. And I had heard yesterday they were bringing in Cliff Kingsbury to be the offensive coordinator, but that
Yeah.
just fell through this morning. So I don't know what happened there. But they're bringing in coaches that have the X's and O's experience of being a head coach and executing plans to be around a guy that doesn't necessarily have that.
Hmm. Well,
And that's what they're doing in Vegas. I don't know if they're
yeah,
going to
it's
do that in other
exactly what they're
places.
doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Well,
Yeah.
that's best of luck to their coaches and all the money that the organization spends for them to get calibers of players so that they can be the coach. I don't know.
You know what's crazy about the Raiders? So they're still paying Gruden, and they'll have to pay McDaniels.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go.
So we're paying
Look
for
at that.
3 head coaches, and only one of them still coaching the team.
Jeez. Yeah, yeah, shoot. No, yeah, like I said, I'm real excited to dissect the NFL, just kind of the prediction throughout the year, of what we saw from teams and just real quick synopsis. So we'll make sure to recap that on our show too for next time as well. Because, yeah, it was a fun season. It was difficult. Everybody was
It
doing
was difficult.
good. So,
It was difficult. So I mean, you go around to the other hires. The Panthers kind of overhauled everything. So they got a new GM and they got a new coach.
mhm.
And their coach, I think, literally was brought in to fix Bryce Young.
Hmm.
He's a quarterback whisperer, apparently. And so they are like, your sole focus is to fix Bryce Young and make him comfortable in the NFL.
Yeah, it'd be tough. It'd be tough with no, I don't know. He settled in throughout the course of the year a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he did
He just
okay.
kind of
That team
played
is
to the
terrible.
style and hand that he was dealt with, I feel like, but yeah, he's very, very young. I'll take him on my team 100 times over Zach Wilson.
Oh, God, yeah.
Anybody but him, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, or yeah, some of the guys, but yeah, some of these guys are. It just what a year for quarterbacks. Probably the biggest takeaway. I mean, the health side of
Yeah.
things for all these quarterbacks, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah. The other one besides Belichick that surprised the hell out of me, actually, probably even more than Belichick, because I thought Belichick was going to go after this year, after the year they had, was Pete Carroll getting let go by Seattle.
Yeah, he's probably tired of it. Like I would be after a while. You know what I mean? And like he probably just wants to because I think he's going to just take a different role in the organization.
Yeah, he's not leaving the Seattle organization. But
Yeah. So
the thing
he's there.
about it
He's
that,
still behind the curtain, just in a different form. It's probably taken a toll on him to get up every, grind like he has, and
yeah,
but so I commend him for that. And I love Pete Carroll. I love watching him, and I think he's got a lot of fire and drive and passion. And it all just kind of died when Russell left too a little bit as well. You know what I mean? Like they had
yeah,
that nice little player coach kind of synergy, and
right.
just kind of from there.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of, not that they're the same type of coach, because obviously Belichick had way more success than Pete Carroll had, but they're around the same age, so I kind of put them together a little bit. When I look at the energy that both of them have, there's no reason why Pete Carroll had to stop coaching.
No. Well, I mean, on the surface, like I said, it takes a
Yeah.
toll on the body, and he's getting older. So,
I mean, he was still running down the field,
oh yeah,
jumping for joy. Like, he looked like he was like 50 out there
oh
at
yeah,
72.
he
Like,
aged well, but
yeah.
should probably should wants to enjoy some time. I don't know, yeah, but
Yeah. And kind of like the Raiders, they went with a guy um, who he went into his introductory press conference in a sweatshirt and a suit jacket.
yeah,
And the Seahawks owner's like, we're doing a new era in Seattle. This is completely different from what we've had. Welcome to the show, pretty much.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, the guy's ready to work. Got his
Yeah.
working clothes on.
Yeah.
Love it, love it. Well, it is Mitchell. It is the NHL All Star Weekend.
It is, yes. And I was going to let you kind of run this because,
Mhm.
one, I don't understand the NHL All Star, and
Same, not really. So yeah, that'll
and
be perfect. I'll be perfect at it.
I don't understand how it runs, and I don't really think there's a draw to watch it, but that's my own opinion.
So last night there was just skill. So the whole thing kicked off with because they've had, I think, pretty good success with the new pro women's hockey league,
Yeah.
and just some of the superstars and the best players in the world that are female. They play on there, and they're legit. It's great hockey, and so that kicked off on Thursday evening. Last night was the skills competition. Now, the one thing about the skills competition that was interesting in the All Star game itself in the NHL, and I would say the same for every other sport. At the end of the day, it's an All Star break, right? So like these players are on break is how
Yeah.
I would take it, and I think it's how they take it, right? So the skills competition was last night, and if everybody went 100%, like McDavid, it seemed like he just went. It just went balls to the wall. I know he's kind of a different level of caliber of player, and it just
Right.
looks different. And maybe these guys are trying as hard as they can, and I'm not saying that they're not, but I did find out that, and I watched the whole skills competition. The winner got $1 million, so it's not like they were
Wow.
playing for nothing. You know what I mean? So the winner of that, which McDavid dominated, and that ties in to, so that's kind of the big skills competition. And Saturday, here in about an hour, there'll be puck drop. They broke it off into 4 teams, so they were selected. I forget how many All Stars, but it's a 3-on-3 tournament. So, like the first game at 1 o'clock is Team McDavid versus Team McKinnon, and then at 2 o'clock, Team Hughes plays Team McCarr or something like that. But they were all, or Matthews, Team Matthews or whatever. So they play at 2 o'clock, and then the winners of both of those games play each other. But they're 3-on-3, so they're pretty fast paced, and tons of goals and tons of
Yeah.
ice out there for those guys to operate at a pretty um, fun, interesting level. So I'm actually looking forward to the 3-on-3 get together. And I don't know the prize. I think there's money involved if the winning team wins it. I would assume,
Yeah.
but so that's going on today. One thing that's really cool about the All-Star game that we kind of were talking about on the phone yesterday was I play a massive amounts as much as I can, which is, if I have the time, which is hit or miss.
Just use an excuse you want to play with your stepkids.
Yeah, right. Well, they don't like the hockey game. They're just like, well, there's too many buttons. Like, I'm trying to build and play Fortnite. So they're, but NHL 24 is on the PlayStation 5. It's something I like to play, and it's a hockey ultimate team where you build your own team, and throughout the course of the game, you get better cards, and it makes the game more fun. And so it was really cool because they did an all-star event and
Hmm.
gave away all-star cards, like whoever was all-star. Well, I got a McDavid, and pretty sought after card before the all-star event happens at all. Well, if they win their specific events in the skills competition and they overall win the skills competition, it's an added overall bonus to their score or to their card, and the card already updated this morning because McDavid won all the events and the competition, and so his
Yeah.
card now is souped up in value. It's even more, and then if he scores a goal, every goal the All-Star score, it adds to their overall as well. So
So
it's
he
kind
could
of
be a
cool.
99 by the end of this thing.
I mean, yeah, if McDavid hammers in 9 goals, yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be amazing, but I wouldn't put it past him. So that it's kind of cool because it's contingent, and your success in that game, the NHL hut, is kind of contingent upon how much currency you have, kind of what. And yeah, so it's been a nice way to intertwine the two and have live action, what's going on, what they're actually doing on the ice, equate over to the game itself, which is kind of a fun thing they do for the MLB The Show, and
Yeah.
a bunch of live, who was hot this week, and it would produce them as a really cool card, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a big MLB The Show guy.
Love the
And
show.
they well, one, they do that with they'll
Mhm.
actually like even in season. So like say Julio Rodriguez hits 500 for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be hot.
He'll go up in overall from whatever his base card is
Yep.
to a diamond,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
their top card. And that'll fluctuate from, I think it's every 2 weeks or something like that. They update
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And so that's really cool for there. But the
Makes it
other
fun.
news with MLB The Show is they just announced their cover athlete for 2024.
Ooh, beautiful cover too. My
It
yeah.
is. It is. So everyone and their mom thought it was going to be Ronald Acuna because he had a monster year, hit like 40 home runs, 70 stolen bases, which is unheard of,
Mhm.
and just had a monster year. Um, and then towards like, because they released it on Twitch and all that and YouTube, and towards the end, people were thinking, well, is it Ozzy Albies, who's another star on the Braves? Which I love Ozzy Albies. He's like I have in every sport, I have like this one, like not necessarily a superstar, but a really good player that I like.
Mhm.
He's my MLB version of that.
Yeah, Albies is stuff.
Yeah. And then it came out of absolutely nowhere that the cover is Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Vlad Jr. Beautiful marketing party had something to do with it because that cover is nice.
Yeah, that cover is sick. And they this hasn't been released yet, but I've heard a lot of TikTokers say that they want the Legends cover that they always do to be Vlad Sr.
Hmm,
and
that would be sick.
have it be that picture of Vlad Sr. and Vlad Jr. at the Expos field
Mhm.
when
Yeah,
Vlad Jr. was a kid.
that'd be dope. That'd
Yeah,
be way dope.
I think
Love
that'd be
it.
sick.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just think, like I said, it's really cool. They can integrate the real life production with the updates and the consistency on it. It's just fun. Makes gaming more fun. So.
It does. It makes the game more fun, and it really. So, like, what I do at MLB The Show is I get a lot of like silvers and golds that I think are maybe going to be good,
Mhm.
and then watch their progression throughout the year.
I think this will be the very first show that I have not given out a pick, a Saturday pick or a Sunday sports bet pick, because there's no sports to bet on.
I know it's so
You
weird.
can actually bet on the All Star game. I take that back. You can bet on that, but like, who wants to do that? I mean, that's like
Well, and I mean,
throwing
you're not a
a
big
dart with
NBA
a
guy, but I'm sure
blindfold
there's
on.
NBA games today that we could bet on. If
Oh yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, if I was a true sports bettor and really cared that much, I would come at you with some college basketball picks today. But
oh
I
yeah,
don't.
that's true. College basketball too,
Well,
but
just
I don't care about college
maybe I'll do
basketball
one.
for another 3 weeks
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Um. Let's see here.
unless
Yeah,
UNC
maybe.
is playing Duke. Then I'll watch those games.
Yeah. Let me
Go
just
Tar
scroll through
Heels.
the games and just see if I can. I don't know much about basketball. Houston -1.5 against Kansas. That's gonna be a fun game.
That's a good game.
So, anyhow, beautiful Saturday. We've had a beautiful week. The weather is starting to change again for the better.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, Mitchell, things are pretty good.
things are really good. Yeah,
Heck yeah. So we got the Super Bowl predictions coming up next week. Um, Mitchell, what else are you thinking? Just that'll be our big show. So that'll be a pretty lengthy episode, and
yep,
but we wanted to make sure to get something going here as we were both ill and had to reschedule things. And just thank you guys for always listening to whatever we have to say. It's
yeah.
wonderful.
One thing I want to say before we kind of part ways. Congrats to Russell Westbrook. He
Yeah.
joined the 25,000 point club last night.
Very.
I've always been a huge fan of Russell Westbrook. I loved him in Seattle slash OKC, and I felt bad for him once he left OKC because I felt like his career kind of started to be in limbo, but
Mhm.
now he seems to have found a home with the Clippers and is doing really well again. So congrats to him on 25K.
Yeah.
And we have the NBA trade deadline next week as well.
Oh,
So we may want to see if there's any big trades, and we'll talk about that a little bit too to mix in with the Super Bowl.
beautiful. Should be a fun show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys for listening, and
Heck yeah. Thanks to our sponsors as well. You guys
yes,
rock.
thank you to our sponsors, Leif Wellhaven Consulting, Peter Yegan Golf, Erica Lip Photography, and Neil Byer.
Bye, 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 bye.
We will be back next week. Probably not better than ever, but we'll be back next week to give you nonsense sports.
Let's go, baby.